Yeah.
Okay, I want to switch now to a question came in about what are our thoughts on the Gemini program that's online for helping with talking. And we kind of talked about this during the break, and neither one of us has extensive experience. We've had them on the show before. I know that there are some people who have had tremendous results with kiddos, and sometimes it's even older kiddos. For those of you who don't know, this is a language program that a lot of what it focuses on is you put it on in the background. It's like not supposed to be the thing where you sit your kid in front of the TV screen. It's on in the background. You keep it on at the table, and a lot of times they do close-ups of the mouth, and there's people saying things, and for some of our kids, that sort of immersion in it while anything you have going on can be very, very valuable. So we have had a few viewers who have tried it and loved it. We've had other people who said that technically they had difficulties with it and it wasn't their favorite thing. So if anybody's watching who wants to write in and say what their experience has been, we would love to hear from that. But they go on to say, I'm having to redo academics for my son now as an adult, everything that school didn't bother to teach. Now I think that's something else that could be addressed because you probably know more than anybody else about what's in skills living and what's available if it's if you've got an older kiddo that has those gaps and it wasn't done in school, and that's very frustrating.
Yeah, I've actually what's interesting about this is I've had my ADHD clients are the prime people who I've worked with, the ones that come in and maybe their a friend or a sibling is on the spectrum and they realize the value. And there are so many of our kids in the early school age grades where you're really learning the core of math and just different academic skills where they weren't getting the information in. It was being taught, but they weren't getting it and taught in that mode. And so then they go on and they become a little bit more of a self-advocate where they're trying to figure things out. And then they don't know that they don't know the basics. They've heard about all these academics. They know what money is, but it's really hard to count. They know what fractions are, kind of, because they've seen pictures. But the basic skill is not fluent. It takes a lot of work to go back. And one thing that we've learned from like the older teens is they have to have something to go to when they're done with school. And it's becoming more and more open with that field. But a lot of times it's money and time.
Yeah.
And I've taken 18-year-olds who managed to graduate high school, but still are not fluent with counting money. And, they've learned compensatory methods, like if something costs, below 10, they always just have a $10 bill.
Yes.
Anything under 20, they get the $20 bill.
Right.
And they can't count the change back. It would just take them too long. So with those kids and those families, I always say, hey, sit down, and actually DTT is the best thing for this. Discrete trial therapy is a form of teaching ABA under the ABA umbrella. And what it does is it breaks down information into small parts, and you learn how to identify, how to express, and then how to use it. And it works it at a level till it's fluent. And when I say a skill is fluent, it means that they can do it easily. They don't really have to think about it. When there's some kind of time pressure, they can easily deliver the skill without warning. And so many of the kids out there have a base skill, but it just takes them too long to add or subtract or figure out time.
So they've got it. It just isn't fluent enough.
It's just not fluent enough. So what I always do is I'll actually put it into a discrete trial format, make sure they have the basics.
Right.
For the whole thing.
Right.
And then once I realize, okay, fill in the gaps, whatever gaps were there, then I work on it and on a time base now.
Right.
How fast can you do this?
Right.
And we slowly increase the amount of time or shorten the time that they have to produce the skill and get it to a point where they can use it in real life, where they can go into a restaurant or a shop or, just being able to read time and getting places on time. A lot of times they should have learned this when they were in elementary school, but they just didn't get those skills.
Well, there's so much that kids absorb on their own, and there's so much that kids miss. And I'm talking about all kids. Neurotypical kids absorb a whole bunch and miss a whole bunch of stuff too. I used to teach in the classroom, and we would always, talk about our kids and say, they're Swiss cheese. There's a whole lot there, but there's holes, and the holes have to be stopped up. And for kids on the spectrum, there's that much more opportunity to have missed important things. But there is skills living for you to help yourself get caught up. And because I happen to know that this mom lives in California, the regional center, I know everybody seems to think that, oh, well, now that there's insurance, regional center is no longer necessary or important. And I think nothing could be further from the truth from our young adults.
Definitely.
That there is now self-determination, that there's a group going through that are working out the kinks on it, but next year all of our kids are going to have self-determination, and you're going to see that more and more providers are popping up that are regional center funded and approved. We've been trying to feature them here on the show, but there are all kinds of resources to do all kinds of things with adults. It's not game over, it's game on.
Yeah.
But I love that this mom is like, I'm taking it on. I'm teaching my son all the things that he didn't learn at school. But I would say try skills living out.
Try skills living, and if you have an ABA provider, they can direct you to see like, oh, we can teach this very quickly.
Yeah.
In this format, or there's a lot of websites actually that can, especially with time and money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just regular learning websites that you can go on and just practice, a lot of the basic skills. And it's really just organizing yourself to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
But they can learn. I've seen it.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I know we started late, but we got to end on time all the same. I want to thank you for being here today with us, and I want to thank all of you for being with us. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.